Welcome, Pathfinders, to the Find the Path podcast actual play of the Tales from Darkmoon Vale, Hollow's Last Hope.
Episode 3, the one with the revengeance.
Oh.
No, it's the one.
I just want revengeance.
It's the fungus dragon.
There's
the
a fungus
dragon.
Are you Raiden from Metal Gear Solid?
Oh, man. He was
Metal
pretty
Gear
awesome,
Solid
though.
Revengeance.
That was a good game.
Well, we're going to kick things off with a brief recap, but then I think we've got some combat to get to. Long story short, the party had ventured forth into Darkmoon Vale itself, and then you encountered a hobgoblin with a pair of razor crow companions.
Yeah, they were...
Yes, that's certainly one way to put it.
Well, Rick won't let me put it other ways, so because we're family friendly.
That's probably going to get bleeped out too.
Yeah. It reminded me of, I think it was the druid in Diablo 2 that you get those ravens that would just go around and peck your enemies while you're running around.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Was amazing. I was like a werewolf with some buddies. Anyway.
Surprisingly enough, I usually played a paladin for that one.
That's the paladin, yeah. A Zil build paladin before they added the patch. My God.
Oh my God.
Nope, it was either sorceress or barbarian, which I don't think surprises anybody.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. You defeated the hobgoblin, knocking him out of the tree, slaying his twin birds, and freeing the little firefoot fox.
Yeah.
Letting it go.
This may be an after-party question, but do those birds have names?
They're not given names in the actual description, so no.
So he is a monster.
He really is.
Yeah, he's bad. Bad boy.
I just want to know if his name's Odin.
I was thinking the same thing.
Ooh, yeah.
No, don't give him that kind of respect.
No, his name was Kurg, actually.
There you go.
Oh,
See?
Yeah.
I don't know, because in most mythology, Odin's kind of a jerk. So, I mean, it is befitting.
Most gods.
This is true. But beyond that, I believe Grim is the one who actually healed the Finnick. In addition, Astrea befriended it. So the party, of course, then oohed and awed and fussed over the animal like we always do in Find the Path.
We're nothing if not consistent.
You knew what you were getting into, Ross.
I did. And to be fair,
The
I
fox
completely
is the
expected.
closest to a feline canid.
This is true.
And then we all healed. Well, and then Amaranthe got healed. You know.
True.
Yep.
It was fun.
And then you continued onward, sleeping for the night before pressing on the next morning to find yourself deep in the heart of Darkmoon Vale and encountering what was probably the largest tree in the entire forest, or at least supposedly the oldest tree. You approached the tree, and down from it sprung a strange lizard-like creature with long wings and fungal growths and spores all over it. It had a greenish tint to it and looked not wholesome.
It's a fungus dragon, and we're all screwed.
Looked a little draconid.
And I believe we'll pick up there with some initiative. So if everyone in the party would like to go ahead and roll perception.
Yeah. Well, Clove rolls a 10 for a 15 perception.
Nice. Amaranthe rolls a 19 for a 22.
Dang.
Wow. All right. Celestine.
Celestine rolls an 8 for a 13.
Alrighty. Astrea.
Astrea rolls a 14 for a 20.
20. And finally, Grim.
A 7 for an 11. I cannot do initiative, apparently, is my thing.
He's never quite ready.
I'd also recently learned that apparently, from what I can tell, it looks like paladins have the worst perception skill of every class in 2nd edition.
Pretty much, yeah.
You just have to wait for the
More
rest
you
of us to
know.
find the evil thing and send you charging at it.
It's very unfortunate since Sense Motive is also under that, so apparently
Tied to
all
perception,
paladins are slightly gullible.
Yeah.
Look at that evil over there.
What?
My, what fine yet rustic architecture.
You notice the hut is made primarily out of wood. There you go. At any rate. From there, then, let's go on ahead and get this party started. Amaranthe, you have the first initiative as the creature starts barreling towards you, fluttering its... You're not sure if they're functional wings or not, judging by the look of them.
It's either a fungus dragon or it's like a wormling dragon in a ghillie suit.
This is.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
I guess I'll recall knowledge and try to identify what this thing is. What knowledge is it even?
Nature, I bet.
Hoping it's nature. If it's Arcana, I'm in trouble.
What?
As in, that means it
you're
would
the
probably be a
wizard.
dragon.
Oh, never mind.
If it's nature, then it's something that looks like a dragon.
He's in trouble because it's probably bad, not because he can't know the things.
Yes.
Okay.
He's,
No, actually,
he's in
Arcana's
trouble
my best
because
skill.
he's also forgotten how to Arcana when he forgot how to spell cast.
Little did you know, I studied nothing but occultism in college.
All right, so to recall knowledge on this particular creature, it is an Arcana check.
No! No!
Now,
All right,
are
here
we
we go.
doing the thing where Jordan is just providing you the information? Because that is a secret check.
Oh, crud, that is a secret check.
Yes, let's go ahead and do the thing. So what is your Arcana?
I have a 7 Arcana. Unless it's a magical item, then I have an 8.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but this is not a magical item.
I was really hoping for
That was- hey, it
figurine
was
of
worth a
wondrous
shot.
power.
Please be a
An
construct.
illusion.
I want it to be a baby dragon in a ghillie suit now, Rick. This is what you've done to me.
I
You
can
know
see
what?
the fan art incoming.
I'm taking Druid at 2nd level. I could have a baby dragon in a ghillie suit if it's really a lizard.
It'd be like
I was just saying, not an
You like
actual
baby
picked
dragon.
on some little wings.
So looking at the creature, you are honestly not sure.
Okay, that's a problem.
Just fireball
Alrighty
it.
then. Yeah, like I have
Don't
that.
burn the tree.
Bear in mind that you can always try again with recall knowledge.
Yeah.
Not saying you should. I'm just saying you can try again also.
Yeah, it is another action, but you may certainly do so.
You can just go there. It's like, I swear to God, I know something about dragons.
Yeah, okay, let me look and see if this...
Pretty much every spell is 2 actions, so.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to remember how this works.
But yeah,
Oh, okay,
otherwise,
all right,
Amaranthe, you are currently
so-
standing behind Grim, facing this thing.
Well, that's slightly reassuring. As I gaze over Grimm's head, I will cast Produce Flame.
Very well.
Yeah.
Well,
That's not too terrible. I roll a 12 for a 19.
19 strikes your target.
Yay! Dang it, minimum damage. So he takes 5 points of fire damage.
You outstretch your
That's still
hand
pretty good.
as a bead of flame flows across the battlefield directly into the thing. It gets singed and burns and screeches with the damage as it takes a step back. You definitely heard it.
I don't know exactly what this is, but it's flammable.
so is the moss that we're trying to collect.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
fair
in a
point.
forest.
It's only been 100 years since I've been in a forest.
Only Clove can
You
prevent
might want
forest
to
fires.
hold off on certain spells, maybe.
You're the strangest elf.
I think he was kidding.
All right, Amaranthe, is that a
I'm
two-action
not sure
spell?
with this guy.
That is a 2 action, so I'm out of actions.
Bump, bump.
Very well. In that case, let's go from Amaranthe to Astrea.
Well, it is exactly 25 feet to get up in its grill, so that is what I'm going to do.
Basically,
So
just
I'll
move
move
directly
25 feet
forward like that.
forward. Yes. All right, and then I will attack with my rapier.
Sounds good.
I roll a 9 for an 18.
18 strikes your target as well.
Good. There's a chance.
So that is a d6 of damage. Or 2 points of damage. So it's, I roll a 14 plus 9, which is a 23 minus 5, 18 again.
18 will still hit your target.
Nice.
Much better that time. Full damage, 6.
Gotta love being first level and having 3 attacks, because occasionally you get them off.
But Astrea, you bound forward, rushing ahead the charge, stopping just short of the dragon before twirling, spinning, and stabbing. You poke a hole into it as blood spurts out between what you can now tell are definitely scales. At the very least, this thing has scales. Before turning around, stabbing up again. In this case, striking it on the leg, it staggers back, once again screeching horribly.
So it's not intelligent?
It doesn't seem to be, or at least it's not speaking.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say, can we, like, reason with
Anybody
it? and be
speak
like,
Draconic?
Not now. You
Take it
stabbed
down.
it twice.
Also true. All right. From Astrea, let's go on ahead and get to Clove.
Clove is going to look around nervously and see if she can identify what this lizard thing is.
Okay.
My Arcana is a 0.
All right.
Right. There's still a chance, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
You actually know what this thing is.
Hey.
Beneath all of the fungus and gross and other terrible things, you think this thing's actually a river drake.
Oh.
They're actually weaker cousins to dragons, and in fact are distantly related to black dragons, from what you understand.
Huh.
In this case, the thing that you remember most about river drakes is that they can spit acid.
It might spit acid, so watch out, I guess. And then I'll stride forward and strike it with my machete.
Get
All
angry,
right.
Clove. Get angry.
That's an action. Didn't have one spare.
So Clove strides forward, taking a brief step to the left of Astrea, standing directly in front of the drake.
She rolled terribly. She rolled a 2. She gets a 9.
With a 9, you do not hit your target. Fortuitously, you don't critical fail. Not that I think it makes much
Okay,
of a
that's
difference
good.
at this point.
It's a drake, a river drake.
We go to its turn. The creature hisses, rearing back, before spitting pretty much directly at Astrea.
Oh, well, there that is.
I'm imagining
lovely.
it's that thing that spits tar or whatever in Jurassic Park.
I mean,
little neck frill pops
It has
out.
a cool frill.
Yep.
it's all fungal, though. It's like a neck frill of mushrooms.
Move, stupid.
A necklace of mushrooms.
No wonder you're extinct.
Now, see,
but it
that's a quotable
spits out-
movie.
As I actually need Astrea and Clove to both make reflex saves. This is
Okay.
a basic reflex save.
I roll a 14 for a 19 on my reflex save.
Very well. Astrea?
I roll a 7 for a 16.
Very well. Clove, you succeed. Astrea, unfortunately, you don't.
Dang it.
Oh no.
I didn't roll great.
So, Clove, you'll take half damage. Astrea takes the full damage.
Okay.
Let's see here. Okay, Astrea, you take 7. Clove, you take 3. As acid pours over both of you.
Ow. Yeah, that really burns.
It then screeches before lashing out with its fangs. Astrea is the one that actually hurt it, so it's going to go for her.
Clove starts to go pale.
Uh-oh. That's not a good sign.
Either
won't
she's
like it when
angry
I
or the
pale.
blood loss.
I think it's not a good sign for the Drake, to be perfectly honest. Let's see here. Well, oh dear.
Oh no.
24 to hit Astrea.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
Does that succeed
Wow.
by more than 10?
No.
I didn't think so, but I had to ask.
Okay, good.
Oh, jeez. All right. Well,
This is about to be real bad.
Astrea takes an additional 8 points of damage as it chomps
Oh.
into her shoulder.
I got 3 hit points, guys.
Yikes.
Maybe
It-
move away.
In my defense, I rolled really well for that attack.
In your defense, you rolled well.
I mean, I don't...
I love the fact that Ross as a GM has to apologize for murdering us, whereas Rick is just like,
The dice did it, not me.
I'm sorry.
I call him like I see him.
I mean, I'm doing the same. It's just I also feel bad about it.
Well, biologist. Thanks for getting that reference, Ross.
Okay, so we go from it, because that is its 3 actions, is it had to use 2 to spit up a bunch of mucus. Acidic mucus.
Ew.
It actually is mucusy. Kind of dangles off of you
nasty.
like patches.
I don't like this at all.
No, it's not great, is it? We go to Celestine.
Celestine is gonna move 25 feet forward, so she's next to Astrea by the Drake.
Okay, so you go around to the left side of the Drake, standing close to the large tree.
As she moves forward, Grim, flank it with me, and then she will stab it until, well, because Grim's not there yet.
True. All right, so you can go on ahead and make an attack.
Heather gambling that it doesn't have attacks of opportunity.
Yep. I roll a
All of that is a gamble now.
I roll a 16, which gets me a 23.
23 succeeds. Go ahead and roll your damage.
She does 6 points of damage.
You stride forward, elven curve blade in hand, swinging down at the back of the drake. Bits of fungus and scale go flying back towards your face.
That's gross.
Yeah.
I'm gonna swing again.
I was about to say, the drake does still stand, though, so...
I roll a 10, which only gets me a 13.
This time, the drake wheels its serpentine head around, battering this weapon out of the way, almost on pure instinct, you think. And
This thing is gross. It's real gross.
yeah, passing Astrea, I mean, you're taking care not to, like, slip in mucus either. Also, you notice the grass around it is sizzling somewhat, so that's probably fine.
It's great. We're all good here.
It's fine. We're fine. Grim, it's your turn. Speaking of things being fine,
Grim barrels forward as fast as his dwarven legs can carry him, moving 15 feet to behind Clove.
You're supposed to flank.
Wait
He's
for
slow.
it. Actually, he moves the 15 feet up to there. He then extends a hand, lay on hands on Astrea as he moves forward. Since
nice.
apparently she's a borderline dying.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Teamwork first. Always teamwork.
Thank you for that.
Family
You
spider.
heal up 6 because I don't have to roll.
Yeah.
So that's my second
love that.
action. And then being a teamwork person, I will move 15 feet around to get into the flank opposite of the elf. Half elf, sorry. Not the elf. The elf is nowhere near the combat.
As he should be.
So say if Amaranthe is up
Suddenly
in
there's
this
just a
thing's face.
shadow that appears over Amaranth's head.
As Grim runs around, he starts banging his hammer on his shield. Over here, lizard!
It's a trick.
Oh, well. I apologize, Master Drake. If you will, please, bring your attention to me.
Celestine bursts into giggles.
The drake does actually cock its head in your direction. Whether it understood you somehow or just from the sheer amount of noise you're making, you're not certain. It almost seems to eye you and askance before we go to Amaranthe.
Okay, Amaranth switches tact, gestures a hand out. I cast Electric Arc. So I
right.
need a reflex save from the Drake.
The drake will attempt it. Not bad, but I don't know if this is going to work. It gets a 16.
16 unfortunately will fail.
Ah.
Not unfortunate.
And that's 5 more points of electricity damage this time.
The drake shudders as its scales sizzle, blood almost dissolving off of it as it evaporates. It still stands, though. This thing is
Man,
tough.
this thing's got some hit points. Amaranth will then look around, realizing that everybody else is in the melee, and stride, let's go about 20 feet up. To
20?
Yeah, I'm not getting in the melee.
You're
That is
close.
in melee. Well,
That's
not
not
exactly,
quite.
but it's close.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Seeing Amaranth move up, Grim's going to wave him back some. I will point out that thing's breath weapon seemed to be a splash.
Oh, fair, yeah. So I guess I'll go 15 feet then. and hope.
Back. Casters on the back.
Technically, you could do that in
my.
the same move action. Just move forward 20 feet.
Yes, exactly. He
Grim's
goes,
like,
back, he goes
"Nope."
there. He's like, "Oh, nope, okay."
And then take a-
Amaranth doesn't really have combat experience, you know.
Celestine makes eye contact with Grim over the Drake, like, really?
This guy's weird.
Grim just does the Picard face palm behind his shield.
the closest combat experience Amaranth has is probably playing like Risk or something in the student union.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you lose all your friends.
Or that one fun game they brought from Numeria with the Rock'em Sock'em robots.
I love that game.
Oh man, that's amazing.
Don't know what a robot is, but I love it. So Amaranth, you shock it and then take a move to a more tactical position before we go to Astrea.
Astrea will continue her stabbing assault.
Sounds like a plan to me. Go ahead and roll your attack.
All right, that'll be a 19
19 hits your target.
for another 6 points of damage.
Astrea is nothing if not consistent. You take a moment, probably feeling a little better after Grim at least healed the worst of your wounds. I'm sure you're still not exactly feeling at your best. Before stabbing up toward the creature's neck, you find a sweet spot between its scales right toward the base of its brain, striking in, removing your blade as the drake collapses to the ground.
Oh, that was easier than I anticipated.
That was, really gross, though. I really would like a shower.
I don't have one.
Well, I'm not actually expecting anyone to just pull a shower out. I'm just stating it for, yeah.
Okay. I'm kind of sad.
Yeah, I wouldn't have actually wanted to come up and attack it, but it seemed to be ready to attack us.
Yeah, it was not nice.
I mean, it is the natural order of things.
Well,
But
sometimes
drakes-
they're smart enough that you can talk to them.
I thought drakes could talk.
I didn't make the roll, so I don't know.
Now, what kind of drake did you say this was?
It's like a river drake.
You said it's covered in like moss and fungus?
Yes, and in fact, if anybody wants to, they can go on ahead and make a nature or a medicine check, whichever one's better for you.
I will make a nature check. My nature is a 4.
Very well.
My nature is also a 4.
My nature's a 3.
My nature is also 4.
Wow.
My nature is a 3.
Okay. Okay. So, Astrea, Amaranthe, and Celestine. The three of you recognize you recognize what's going on with this. This is an advanced strain of black scour. It seems that this drake was being weakened by some sort of fungal disease, though this has progressed far more than it ever does on anybody in town.
Because they usually die before it gets this bad.
This poor thing was probably in pain.
Well, then we did it a favor.
What was wrong with it?
It had black scour, but I've never seen anything this far gone.
Well, I mean, a river drake's going to be much hardier than most of the people back in town. Maybe this is what happens if you survive long enough.
Where did it get black scour?
Well, we believe that the disease is spreading through the water in town.
But that was from the well.
Well, if it's a river drake, and maybe there's another source that's feeding into the well.
But so if the river that the drake was from was contaminated, does that mean that the river is contaminated and people are still getting contaminated water? And so the plague's going to keep going?
It's a larger, free-flowing source of water, so it may dilute the contaminants a great deal more than the aquifer would. So perhaps that's where this issue comes from. It's flowing down from somewhere, seeping into the ground and building up in the aquifer. But if this is a creature that literally breathes water, assuming I don't know anything pertaining towards river drakes, or at the very least is in the water all the time, it may have simply absorbed it through its scales. Prolonged exposure, perhaps?
It's definitely something to consider, but it doesn't really affect our mission at the moment.
Well, we definitely need to find a cure if it's starting to infect things in the forest.
We should burn this.
Not to alarm anybody, but it is unusual for diseases to be communicable across species, which means this is even more dangerous than we previously thought.
This is
Well,
like a fungal thingy.
It's not a
yeah.
disease, it's a fungal infection.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, new to town. Didn't get the lowdown on the exact details.
That's fine. I'm trained in medicine.
I'm not, so...
Anyway, though, like I said, it doesn't change the mission that we have right now, because if we can get everything we need and figure out a cure, then maybe we can figure out how to save animals in the forest as well.
So the moss should
well-
be around here somewhere, right?
It should be on this big tree, and I have a machete, so I'm going to look for the moss.
Amaranthe, are you capable of summoning more fire?
Oh, yes, as much as you need.
When we're done finding the moss, you should burn this body. We want to make sure that no other scavengers or anything eat it, become infected, spread it further.
All right,
Just
I can do that.
Don't sniff the smoke. It might be bad.
True.
Fair point. Amaranthe, reaches down, grabs his shirt, just kind of, gingerly slides it over his nose.
Yeah, we'll search for some fungus.
Yeah, finding the moss is exceptionally easy. It's growing pretty much all over the tree.
I scrape it off with my machete.
Very well. I will also allow everybody in everybody in the group that's gathering moss to go on ahead and make a perception roll.
Nat 20 for a 25.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good because I rolled a 5.
Oh.
I assume
I
I'm
also
burning the
rolled a
body.
5.
Very well.
I rolled a 6 for an adjusted 10.
All right.
Yeah, I got a 5 for an 11.
5 for an 11.
I mean,
Okay.
a 5 gets me a 10, so.
All right. So basically, you're all gathering moss. When Clove, you notice slightly up the tree. You're not sure how it happened, to be honest, but you do note remains of some sort of humanoid figure. In fact, a pair of them. They seem to be lashed up in the tree with maybe some sort of crude rope or something along those lines. They're definitely long dead, as they're actually skeletal at this point.
That's weird, right? And she points.
What is?
Oh.
Oh,
Oh.
well, that's definitely not normal.
Should I climb up there?
I took mountaineering classes during my time in the with the defenders of Torax Forge. I'd probably be able to get up there rather easily.
I'm a half decent climber, too.
I have an athletics of 6, if that helps.
So do I.
Yeah. Mine's a 5.
Maybe relevant, but does anybody, I don't know, happen to know the proper rites to lay them to rest?
I could pray to Magram and see if he could direct them. They aren't dwarves, but Magram works closely with Pharasma.
I mean,
we don't
I
know what
suppose
they
it'll
are.
have to do.
They're just bones right now.
Perhaps they are dwarves.
Celestine's going to start shimmying up the tree.
I mean, Volgrim will let her go.
Yeah, Clove's also fine with this.
Go on and make me a quick athletics check, please.
I roll a 15 for a 21.
With a 21, you climb up the tree with no issue. You're able to retrieve both bodies. If you wish, you can go ahead and make a... No, wait. It's going to be recall knowledge, so I have to roll it. But if you want to, you can make a medicine check to see what they...
I do have a 3 in medicine.
Okay, I'll go ahead and roll that real quick then. You're able to recognize... of course, you're not certain who they were. They're too far gone to actually be able to identify specifics, but you're fairly certain both were human, or at the very least, very near human.
Human adjacent.
Yes.
Looks like they were probably human.
Why would
Do they have any belongings or anything that's survived however long they've been tied to this tree?
I was actually just about to get to that. Yeah. They do have... each one of them has a backpack. It looks like the backpacks have mostly moldered and pretty much useless, but some of the stuff within those backpacks is still of, some worth or value. So you find the following. A pair of crossbows, a pair of short swords. One of them is actually still wearing a mostly functional suit of hide armor, a composite short bow.
Oh. How is that different from a normal short bow?
It is propulsive, so it adds half your strength modifier to damage.
I shall take this.
Okay.
A pack with somewhat dubious trail rations. You're probably not too willing to eat those.
Leaving that.
Yeah.
Gross.
If it's been up there long enough for them to decompose, that's rotten.
Yeah. It doesn't look rotten, but it is rock hard, and you have a feeling that it's probably not going to be good to eat. However, there is also a small coin pouch. Inside, you find 9 silver pieces, 12 copper pieces, and a signet ring.
Ooh, signet ring.
The ring itself is
Interesting.
worth a gold piece. The symbol on it is what looks to be a rearing griffin on a field of some sort. It's really, they probably didn't have it in color when they actually made the ring, since, made out of metal. But a rearing griffin with what appears to be a bolt of lightning streaking forth from its outstretched talons.
Do I recognize this?
It is a society check to recall knowledge. What is your society?
5. I also have lore Falcon's Hollow of 5, if that is more pertinent.
It is
Dang.
unfortunately not. Looking at this, glancing it aside, you're fairly certain this has come from maybe an offshoot of the Jagare family from distant Chiliacs.
Oh, wow.
Those Jagares, man. They get
They're just everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah. This is
Everywhere.
definitely not their main seal, but from what you understand, this is one of the ones that they've used over their however many centuries they've been around.
So, this is a crest from one of the offshoots of the Jagara family from Chiliax.
Okay.
Don't know why they're in a tree in our forest, but okay.
But they were tied. Why would they be tied?
Because
Probably a punishment if they're tied.
Chiliax?
Or trying not to fall out.
Yeah, were the knots for that over their chest? Were their hands tied?
So from what you can tell, they were actually lashed to this tree. You guess somebody basically tied them down to the branch by their chest, like around their chest, basically.
Oh no, somebody definitely tied them to this tree.
But
Strange.
why?
I mean, has anybody heard of anybody from the Jagari family in town?
I mean,
no.
they've been out here long enough to be, completely skeletalized. That's a long process.
I mean, there's some old people in town. Maybe they know.
Everybody looks at Grim.
I mean, regardless, we really need to move on.
I've only been in town for perhaps 6-7 years.
Yeah. But
I
you're
guess
old.
we should take them with us?
We should at the very least lower them down. We can give them a proper burial here.
I mean, knowing the consortium, them being from Chiliax, might be enough to tie them to a tree.
It's pretty high up.
Oh, yeah, and Andoran, yes.
It's possible, but it's a lot of effort to go through to do that.
Oh well.
I mean, I don't suppose that's a local ritual for execution.
Clove gets you a wide-eyed look. No.
It's mostly hanging.
Or just
Oh.
disappearing.
Ah, okay. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's other places where that's more common. Yes.
I think we should move on. This is turning very morbid.
Uh-huh.
We should retrieve the bodies first, put them to rest. It'd be the proper thing to do.
Well, I don't have any objection to that.
Do you need help, Celestine, or do you have that?
I've got it. They're just bones.
Be gentle if you can.
As there's like a crash of one of them just
I'm
falling.
sure
Just tosses them over the edge.
I'm sure some of those, when she starts to undo the rope, a bunch of it's just going to fall anyway.
mean, yeah, already
The tendons and all that stuff are gone.
yeah, pieces of them are already missing here and there, probably just from the
Okay,
elements
Astrea,
blowing
grab
around.
grab the other side of my blanket, and we'll just put them under this. Make a little tarp.
I mean, that's not a half bad idea.
Yeah.
Catch them as they fall.
Yeah, you can make an impromptu, effectively stretcher.
So anyway, we'll collect all of the bones.
Alas, poor
You know.
Yorick.
I was just going to say, doing so is a process taking probably about half an hour to an hour, depending on how many people end up helping. But I assume most of the party is going to.
Clove mostly just does deep breathing exercises and tries not to look at the dead bodies too much.
Would I be able to count the time that I'm praying over these unfortunate individuals as time that I'm refocusing?
Absolutely.
So about 10 minutes into that or so, lay a hand on Astrea's shoulder and heal her for another 6.
Oh, thank goodness.
You did very well in the fight back there.
Thanks.
You said you have no professional training.
Well, not exactly. I mean, I've trained, just never officially.
Oh, well, you did quite well. You have very good form.
Thanks.
Yeah, Grim will shovel out 2 shallow graves, place the bones in there, put the dirt back on top of them. I know no prayers to Pharasma, but may Magram, the Taskmaster, take the fragments of your soul and reforge them into something stronger. Go in peace. He pats the grave.
That was quite
They
nice.
are Chilaxians. They might be, downstairs.
Everyone deserves to go to their afterlife in one piece.
Well, that's kind of judgmental. Just because you're from Chiliax doesn't mean you're evil. I mean, it's highly probable. But
I said
Not a
might.
guarantee.
I suppose while that's all going around, Amaranthe will actually use his fire and everything to clear off, make a little fire line around this creature so that when he burns it, it doesn't cause a forest fire. I assume that was part of
only
elf
you
training,
can prevent
elf
forest
magery
fires.
101.
Clove can help by stacking some rocks.
Sure, that'll help.
Either Clove or Amaranth trained in survival?
Yes, I
Yes.
am.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to make a fire break with no issue.
Woo.
Sweet.
Fire break, that's what that's called.
That's my special human skill.
Yeah,
Or
there
whatever.
we go.
You take survival?
Yeah.
I figured, I was like, we're going to be in the forest. I should probably know this also as an elf that's hundreds of years old.
I think we all were like, forest, survival, nature, check.
Yeah, I'm also trained in survival, so
I too am trained in survival.
yeah,
Also,
we're all trained in survival.
I'm a rogue. I'm trained in almost everything. That's what the 2E rogues are.
Skills.
I know when you're mentioning all the equipment, you mentioned that there were crossbows. Were there bolts?
There were no bolts.
Or
Or at the very
arrows.
least, no arrows either, unfortunately.
I already had arrows because I had a short bow before.
Oh, good for you.
May I borrow your bow?
Okay. She hands you the bow.
I'm guessing you mean her original short bow.
Do you want the composite one or the other one?
No, you seem rather fit. I think the composite bow will work well for you, but I don't think you would need two, and I'll hold on to this one. If you have an extra arrow or two to spare.
I will give you 10 arrows.
Dang.
I'm skilled with these crossbows as well, but we don't seem to have any ammunition for them.
Bows are faster.
We appear to be 1/3 of the way to our goal.
There we go.
I found a lot of the moss and put it in the bag. So, are we gonna go to the witch's place or the scary iron ruin place?
Well, I think the witch's hut is supposed to be next on the directionality that we're going.
The tour of Darkmoon Vale.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
A 3-item tour.
Oh, God. It really is, though, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
All right. So, orienting yourself, I will need another survival check from the party.
Oh man. I roll a 15 for a 19 survival.
Yikes, I roll a 3 for a 6.
Nice.
Rolled a 5 or a 9.
Nice.
Rolling bad.
11 for an adjusted 15.
Okay.
12 for 15.
All right. So, despite Amaranthe and Astrea, I guess, being more city dwellers than actual woods folk, are they called woods folk? Honestly, I couldn't be certain.
No, they are now.
I mean,
I mean, you can.
Amaranthe has probably done more magic than he's done in, like, decades in the past couple hours, so he's probably a little distracted.
Pretty much.
True.
Astrea, I think, is possibly still wounded.
So to
I'm
say,
only down 1 point now.
Yeah.
okay, not bad, but it still probably stings slightly.
Still trying to scrub off
It's a flim.
Don't remind me.
phlegm. Yeah.
Don't remind me.
Yes,
And we
unfortunately,
can't-
create water is a first level spell now.
Well, we can't bathe in the river because it could be
Which is
contaminated.
disappointing.
Nah. The river's a ways off from this part of the forest anyway, so you'd have to travel far out of your way to actually get to it.
Nope, contaminated.
Yeah, we're not sure about that river anymore.
Yeah.
We'll drink nothing but rainwater. Actually,
But-
we'll need to get water at some point.
Acid rain.
True, you will.
Oh man, this turned into Fern
Wow.
Gully.
Jeez.
I don't know.
Thank you, Tim Curry, for that.
telling you, we see some sprites and a bat. We're running.
Well, there's like all
Love.
sorts of gross stuff happening in the woods. I don't know.
I mean, there is a lumber consortium,
Yeah,
so,
see?
they'd be cutting down the forest.
Oh man, so we got to find some fairies to help us out.
Hopefully the good kind, not the bad kind.
And a bat named, voiced by Robin Williams.
Yes,
When I'm a
fairies.
druid, I'll take a bat, and then we'll have Batty.
There you go.
There are tons of fairies. Yes.
No, thank you.
But,
Let's just wander off into the woods and find a witch first. So that sounds like it should
Yeah.
be safe.
What could go
Hansel and
wrong?
Gretel style. Where them breadcrumbs?
no, you're off to see
possibly
the
go
The
witch.
house is made of gingerbread. I'm out.
This is one half Fern Gully, one half Blair Witch Project.
True. Although Hazel's not a child anymore, so technically a gingerbread witch would be okay.
Yeah,
That's true.
that's
She's
true.
barely
The
an
fact that
adult.
that's an actual archetype in 1E is amazing.
Yes.
But fortuitously, Grim, Clove, and Celestine are all able to lead you in the proper direction. Once again, this area of the woods is dense. It's difficult to find any sort of actual shortcut, but at the very least, you're able to pick a path that generally leads you in the direction you want to go.
I cut with my machete.
Very helpful, as bits of brush,
Trailblazing.
and brush, smaller limbs and such go flying out of the way, basically creating a trail for everyone else. Except Grim and Astrea don't necessarily need it, as they, just kind of
I'm a
hunker
spry little
underneath the
halfling.
most of it.
I spent 100 years as a scout through the woods. Actually, I was a scout pretty much anywhere.
I didn't think dwarves did trees.
You may notice oftentimes that mountains are surrounded by trees. Sometimes the trees
Mostly,
even
you know,
encroach
stayed
upon the mountains.
in the mountains.
Actually, that was mostly a joke. I did help escort pilgrims and such to the Forge of Torag. Torag's Forge is located in High Helm, which is where I spent most of my time in education and training with the defenders of Torag. But I did do scouting.
So Torag needs defenders?
The people need defending.
Ah.
Every dwarf is taught to be self-sufficient, but every dwarf is also taught that the community will take care of the individual. It is important that everyone knows.
Someone should tell that to Falcon's Hollow.
Yeah. Trust me.
Unfortunately,
I've been trying.
Unfortunately, their faith in the Forge Father is somewhat lacking.
Their faith in anything but coin is somewhat lacking.
It's true. I'm sure Abadar runs rampant.
I was going to say, there's a deity for that.
Hey,
Abadar is a friend to Torag, though.
Lady Gensar's nice. She's Iamade follower.
Yeah,
Amadei is
Macasorian
also
doesn't
a
want
French
her in
Torag.
town.
Yeah. Anyway,
When the time came for the dwarves to march alongside Iamade, the dwarves of Kragadon answered the call, so we have a long-standing friendship between our deities. Assuming that you follow Iamade.
uh-huh. I point at my necklace.
I was going to say, at the very least, I think Clove has a rather prominent,
She's a skilled and capable warrior and tactician, and it's only unfortunate that more people don't follow in her example.
Well, this got heavy. The witch is that way.
I'm a dwarf, everything's heavy.
that's my secret.
That's my secret. I'm always heavy.
How is Reggie doing?
Amaranthe digs around in his hood of his cloak, pulls out Reggie.
Reggie squeaks.
Nope, still a regular animal, I'm afraid.
Oh.
Poor Reggie.
Reggie
Why is that a
squeaks.
bad
There you
thing?
Why is that bad? She's still cute.
Well, yes, but she gets all kinds of interesting powers once she becomes a familiar of mine.
Reggie snuggles your neck.
What do you
Like
have
the
to do
ability
to
to
make her
talk to me.
familiar?
Oh, keep investing more magical power into her over a period of time.
Considering you haven't cast magic until yesterday for 50 years, maybe that's why she's still a squirrel.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
How
That's
long
actually
have you
a really
been
good
trying
point.
this?
It's just a really old squirrel.
You suddenly notice that this squirrel is on death's door.
This is actually Reggie the Ninth, I'm sorry to say.
How many generations of rodent are we talking about here?
You lose
Is
track
this a
of it.
random one, or have you been breeding them for genetically engineering the perfect familiar?
I've engineered the perfect familiar.
It's a
It's
side
like those
hustle.
people that go crazy with Pokemon breeding to get the perfect Pokemon.
Oh, God,
no,
he's
the
actually
stats aren't
he's the
right.
pet vendor that's been breeding. Flying
If you don't want it, can you turn it into candy?
dark.
No.
Such a horrible thing to say.
We're moving on.
Reggie squeaks in defiance.
I'm not entirely positive that that's a Pokemon reference, but I think it is.
It is
It's
just
just-
a reference.
there
It's
you
a
go.
horrible rumor that people started about
It's just
it.
for Pokemon Go.
Yeah, it's not actually a thing,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
that's basically what everyone says because it's
Well, yeah,
supposedly it's
because
funny.
you give him the Pokemon and he gives you candy.
And
so
we're
it's the
giving him
joke is-
hundreds of them. Where's he storing all these Pokemon?
And they're Pokemon specific candy.
And it's specific candy. But
Wow.
But
I suppose he would just turn to you and actually in serious be like, oh, I mean about 5 years, but I've never tried this before, so I don't actually know how long it takes.
What is the average lifespan of these rodents?
Couldn't say.
Can I know the answer to this? I want to know the answer to this. I have a 4 nature, Ross. Roll my check for me, Ross.
Secretly, it's an undead flying squirrel.
Well, it's already kind of a familiar, so it started longevity.
so,
I'm probably not going to like the answer.
well,
I'm
in
ready for
fact,
the answer.
Clove, you recall that sugar gliders, because this is a sugar glider, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Sugar gliders, on average, live to be about 12 to 15 years old.
Yay! There's still time.
Oh, they live for 12 or 15 years.
Oh, that's so short. That's horribly short. Oh, poor Reggie.
Well, if
Well,
she's
if it
a
turns into a
familiar,
familiar, though, doesn't that mean that it lives as long as you?
I hope so.
Yes, barring unnatural death.
Well, you
What,
better
are you going
keep
to try
her
and kill your
safe.
squirrel?
No, but at the rate we're going, something will.
Again? No.
I will protect your squirrel with my life.
I appreciate that, Clove.
Okay.
I respect that you've found family wherever you can.
So did they let you out of Keonan, or did you just, lose your way and now you're out in the world?
Oh, yes, no. I actually have taught in Keonan, Absalom, various places within Taldor. I did a brief sabbatical / exchange program in the Mwangi Expanse. So I've been a little bit all over. But you do get bored after a certain amount of time being in one place, so I like to move every, 10, 25 years.
I'm 15.
He's had at least 6 retirement parties.
He does it for the retirement party.
I love that cake. It's great.
There's punch.
It's
give you a
also a
gold
chance for him
watch.
to go collect new clothing. So you can put on different styles.
But
You just seem like you wander and end up places.
I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I've thought about leaving the town, so...
Do you not have any family?
Oh, no, my parents are still alive in Keonan. They are very, I would say well-respected magical scholars. But they only entreat with the elves. So they don't really interact with other people.
It's unfortunate.
It's a little bit... to them, it's more peaceful. You're also short-lived, no offense, but it's hard losing friends. You don't ever really get used to it.
Everybody dies.
Grimm's old.
That's actually pretty accurate, but... Although that, again, it's an outlook that I can understand. I've spent most of my life living amongst dwarves, and so seeing the rate that the humans that live around the mountain grow old, it's impressive, actually. The amount of life and experience and activity and love that humans manage to compact into such a short period of time. I sometimes think that there is much, at the very least, of industry that our people could learn from one another.
Well, I've only lived for 15 years, but everyone I loved is dead, so sometimes it's not about how long you live.
But about how
A wise
well?
statement.
Well, no, people die, and it sucks. And it doesn't matter if they die from old age or from some disease or whatever. It sucks to lose people that you love.
That is very true.
Can we go find the witch now? Because this is sad. I don't like to feel sad.
Then you shouldn't be living in Falcon's Hollow.
Well, I didn't get a
Should I
choice.
tell
That's where
you
I
a
was
story
born.
then?
Is it sad?
I have an amusing story about how Bolka, Torak's daughter, tricked her suitors into fighting one another until she eventually didn't have to marry any of them.
Oh, I like that.
It's rather amusing.
That's good. That's a good story.
Yeah, he'll tell you all about the golden gift and the story of Bolka and her suitors.
nice.
As we march through the forest,
Thinking about
somewhat
sad things.
yeah, somewhat morosely.
Haphazardly.
Because now we
This
made ourselves
is a
sad.
fun, happy story.
But we're all silently thinking about our sad things.
And then, before they realized it, they were all chained together. And then we round the corner, there's a horrifying witch's hut.
What a segue.
You wander. No. You march several miles through the forest. You actually have a very clear direction and make your way, at the very least, at the amount of time you expect it would take. You make the 6-mile walk in about only a couple of hours, really. It doesn't take too exceptionally long to get near where you believe the hut is.
A long walk is made faster with good friends.
That is very true.
Do we know if the witch is alive, or do we just know that there's a witch's hut out here?
Actually, do we know anything about this witch?
Is she nice? Can we
yeah.
just be like, hey, witch,
Can
we
this
need
be
to
a
purchase
good
an
witch?
item?
Is this
you a good
Galinda
witch
the good
or a
witch or
bad
Elphaba
witch?
the bad
So,
witch?
in this case, Clove, you know the most about her because supposedly this is the person who gifted Laurel's grandmother with the book.
Oh.
But
So
isn't
she old?
Laurel really old?
Laurel's about maybe 35 or so.
Okay.
But
She's just old compared to me.
Yeah.
God, she's so ancient.
She's twice as old as me. That's forever away.
I'm already there.
You're already there, Heather.
Shut up.
You just
did
need
he-
a hut with chicken legs. Anyway,
I would hut with chicken legs, okay?
I want a hut with chicken legs so bad. I want to play a witch with a hut. Come on. Anyway.
Come on,
But
Paizo. Why is that
Clove-
not an archetype?
What Laurel was able to tell you is that Ulametsa was considered a wise woman and a practitioner of the old ways, though oftentimes she was also blamed on any number of various ills that befell the community of Falcon's Hollow. But from what you understand, this was over a century ago.
So, Ula Metza is the person who gave Laurel's grandma the book that has all the recipes in it, and she was like a wise woman, and she should be nice, but I think she might also be dead because that was like a long time ago. And she probably doesn't like the town because the town always blamed bad stuff on her because she was like a lady that lived in the woods and like had magic or whatever. And
So we need to approach very carefully and diplomatically.
well, if she's even alive, because it's been a long time, and I don't think that she was, I think she was just a lady. I think she was just a person, like a human, so...
I was about to say, we are both people.
Right, so we could be coming up on a haunted witch's hut.
Oh, yeah, I guess that would be a thing.
Was she a witch, or is that just the rumors around town? Did she practice some form of arcane or occult magic, or was she a herbalist and just mislabeled?
I think she was just an herbalist, but I don't really know.
Oh, well.
She was just like a
Spooky.
wise woman who made like remedies and stuff.
I say, everyone, put your weapons away and we approach this diplomatically then. Perhaps she's just misunderstood.
Well, if she's still alive, then I don't know what she's going to be like.
No.
A half elf.
Well, she could be like an elf or something, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If she's alive, she's a half-elf. There's no other option.
Thog half orc too. Other half also orc.
Thog. Anyway, after a while, you approach what appears to be a perfectly circular glade. This clearing is almost eerily silent as you step into it.
Oh gosh, fairies.
There are stands of pine, elm, and even darkwood trees all throughout here, but they almost all seem to start twisting away from the clearing, as if though somehow trying to escape the center of it.
That's not good.
Are there mushrooms in a circle? Because I'm not stepping in no fairy ring.
You see no mushrooms, though admittedly they could have made the ring out of the trees themselves, in which case you're already in here and it's too late.
Clove
That's
does
terrifying.
pull her machete because this is weird and scary.
We should keep our weapons away just in case.
But the trees are trying to escape from the circle.
Ah.
Well, I mean, they could have been encouraged to grow that way.
Is there something magical that makes it do that or natural?
I'm sorry, did I miss it as part of the description, or is there a hut here?
Yeah,
There's
there
not.
is. I was going to get to it. I just had.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Yes. In the center of this stands a small. Honestly, calling it a cottage is probably giving it too much credit. It is primarily a hut composed entirely out of twigs, shoots, and ivy, stacked upon mud walls. The thatch roof dangles with bundles of gnarled roots and old dried beast carcasses. A number of knucklebone bangles dangle from the thatched roof, clattering together like gruesome wind chimes. In addition, you see a number of small thatched fetishes, each shaped like a tiny man or imp, or in one case a rearing serpent, that stand propped up in the yard here.
Oh my gosh, we found the witch from Sleepy Hollow.
Keeping guard before what appears to just be a simple group of rickety planks lashed together to form some sort of rudimentary door.
Grim touches one of the stones on his necklace. Grundamar, peacemaker. Lead my words. Grim will step out into the clearing.
Hello.
I mean, Celestine, after you call out, nothing responds. Or if it does, it's so inaudible that you can't hear it.
I told you she's probably not alive.
It's still rude to just like barge in.
Well, you gotta knock on the door.
Excuse me, Ulametsa. I'm Volgar Manswarth. These are my friends. We've come to seek your wisdom and experience. I will be approaching your house now. I walk forward with my hands like held out to my sides.
There's no answer from within.
Clove will walk after you.
I mean, it's possible
Yeah.
she's not home.
Well, I'll follow along.
Very well. You approach the front door of the house. Once again, the knuckle bones clacking every so often with every sort of breath of the wind. Honestly, as you approach the hut, cottage, whatever you want to call it, despite the fact that it is still effectively mid-afternoon at this point, you feel unnerved approaching it. Like maybe you're just not supposed to be here.
I'll blast off a detect magic. Is there any magic in any of these fetishes or anything?
Detecting magic upon the fetishes, there's no magic here.
It's either ghost or fae.
Well, good news. There's no magic here.
Well,
So,
she's an
it's just
elderly
creepy.
woman living alone, so we should check up on her.
Yeah, best not jump to conclusions.
I'll knock
she
on the
could've
door
been
if I can get up to the porch, yeah.
Yeah, nothing stops you as you approach the porch, or really just more the dirt pile in front of the front door. You knock on it. After waiting for several moments, there's still no response from anybody inside.
I'm coming in to check on you. Don't be alarmed.
If there's any kind of window or anything, or is it just walls?
It is just walls, though you do note that most huts of this design would probably have a cutout section at the top, so if somebody were to cook, the smoke can escape.
Yeah.
So if you want to climb up there, you could potentially look in from
Yeah,
up
I'm
top.
not going to climb up on the probably crazy fae lady's house. So,
Why not? It's perfectly safe.
Undead fae lady.
Clove feels very scared and mostly just stays quiet.
Everyone keep an eye out on the surrounding woods. How big are some of these fetishes that are set up in the yard?
Most of them are small, at least slightly shorter than Astrea in most cases. The serpent is longer, actually standing slightly above Grimm's own height, but none of them are particularly large.
Well, the wizard said they weren't magical, so
Celestine is so resisting the urge to do the, like, poke somebody in the side thing while everybody is all, like, tense. You know?
Did you feel
way to
that?
get
Losing a
fire.
finger.
It's a good
Somebody
way to
would
get a
just
barbarian to
slice.
rage.
That's why I said resisting.
Grimm will open the front door, looking in with his keen dwarven dark vision.
You go to open the door, and it does not budge from its position. You see no lock or anything like that. I mean, this is really just a simple slat with a rope poked through it so you can open it.
I think this is either warped or maybe jammed.
If we were going to break in anyway, there's probably a hole on the roof for smoke. I can go stick my head in.
Well, I think we need to make sure that she's not, well, alive before we'd really be going breaking and entering some poor woman's house, right?
I think the opportune phrase would have been, we need to make sure she's not dead.
I can climb up top and check through the hole.
You're much lighter than I am, and this does not look like a particularly well-built structure, so if either of the two of you...
If we're worried about the structural integrity, then Astrea should go.
Yeah, I don't think it'll give under me.
Well, here. You know, he leans down, like hooks his fingers to kind of boost you up onto the roof.
She accepts the help and jumps on up.
Nope.
Can I make an acrobatics, though, instead of an athletics?
It's climbing.
Yeah, it's
Bummer, I
athletics
still have
to
a plus
climb,
4.
So
Or plus 3. That would be a 17 for a 20.
okay, you're able to climb
Nice.
up without any issue. Grim giving you a boost. You stand upon the roof. It's not giving. I mean, it creaks somewhat ominously, but after standing still for a moment, it settles. It seems to accept your weight.
I move forward and look down the smoke hole.
Very well. Moving forward, looking into the hole at the top.
Pennywise the clown jumps out and eats your face.
Oh, God.
He says he's got all sorts of cures down there.
You'll float too. You'll float too. You'll float too.
Oh no, I don't want to float. Taking a look down, first of all, you can see the door and see the obstruction. It appears that there is somebody pushed either a drawer or a chest or something up against the door, though it's largely rotted. You should be able to batter it aside without too much problem. Otherwise, inside the cottage, you notice primarily a number of shelves, each stacked with all sorts of different ingredients for gods know what. I don't know if you have crafting.
I do have crafting.
Ah, okay. If you're trained in crafting, you can recognize at least some of them as moldering remains of roots that can be used for alchemical cures.
Interesting.
But taking a look around, the smell here, first of all, is awful. It smells like things have been rotting just sort of steadily in this cabin for a considerable amount of time. You notice, other than the shelves, 3 major things. The first is that there seems to be what remains of a straw sleeping mat tucked away in a corner opposite the door. It's largely dried out terribly, and most of it's rotted at this point. The second thing you note is a large cauldron in the middle, made primarily of iron. It's rusting, and otherwise looks like it hasn't been used in a considerable amount of time. The third is a figure covered in, you think, burial linens? Bits of mushroom and other fungi almost seem to jut out from between the bits of linen that you can see from up here. The figure does not move or notice your presence, though its head is completely wrapped up by linens.
Well, I'm pretty sure Clove was right. There's a body in here wrapped in linens. Judging by the amount of things growing on it, I think she's been there a while.
Wrapped in linens.
Yeah, it looks like burial linens.
Does it look like black scour?
I can't really tell from up here. There's a cauldron in the middle, but it doesn't look like it's been used in a long time. There's a chest of drawers that's blocking the doorway.
Are there other exits from the room?
No, I don't see any other way in.
So did she lock herself in when she got sick or old and just sat down and died in her
Locked
own
herself
burial?
in and wrapped herself in linen?
Yeah, I don't know how she would have wrapped her head.
She must have barricaded the door to keep something out.
Yeah, something's fishy.
Or
There's-
something else barricaded the door to make sure nobody else got in and disturbed her makeshift tomb.
Do you see any signs of something crawling out through the smoke hole?
Taking a look around up on the roof, you don't notice anything, though you can make a perception check if you wish.
There's also all sorts of magic people could use to get in and out of a place undetected.
Roll a 14 for a 20.
With a 20, taking a look around, really the main thing you note about both the roof and the interior is that the roof doesn't look like it's been disturbed in a considerable amount of time. It hasn't been repaired in a considerable amount of time either. You honestly don't think anybody heavier than yourself could feasibly stand up here. The second thing you note is that everything inside of the hut is covered in dust.
I don't know. I doubt anything bigger than me could really come up here without it caving in. And like I said, it doesn't look like anything's been over here in a long time. There's a thick layer of dust on everything, as far as I can tell.
Well, Laurel
Should I-
said that the roots would be inside of her hut. We're gonna have to get in there some way or another, and
Would you be able to drop down and let us in?
Drop down? Yes. Not sure I could move the chest of drawers by myself.
I could just try to break the door open. I'm
will.
pretty strong.
If this is her tomb, final resting place,
We also haven't made a great deal of noise, but hammering down a door, if whatever is responsible for this is nearby, will draw its attention. We may wish to do this quietly.
Well, on the plus side, though, this area is cleared out, so we would be able to see them coming, hopefully.
I mean, I do see some roots and jars on the shelves, so I think it's worth coming in. I'm just worried about going in by myself. I mean, I'm not afraid to jump down there, but if I can't move the chest of drawers and then she wakes up, that doesn't sound good.
you're afraid of the undead lady.
All right, well, before we try that, then I'll put my shoulder against the door and see if I can't just shove it open instead of having to batter this down.
I was gonna shove. I have an 18 strength.
It is an athletics check to force open.
Okay, I'll set
Oh, even better.
Yeah.
I get a perfect 20
That's a
for
24.
25.
I get an 18 for a 24.
Nice.
Very well.
And the tiny little barbarian is there for the win.
I am strong.
In this case, Grim, you start pushing, and getting to it with a sort of just slow and steady wins the race mentality of just continuing to apply pressure. Clove, you walk up to it and just sort of shoulder it. Despite the fact that, Clove's also fairly tiny from what I recall, right?
Clove she's like 5'7".
Okay, she's not that small. So, Clove, you just sort of hunker down, shoulder it as it just sort of
she's got a foot and a half on me, so
wood and splinters flying everywhere.
All right, it's open.
Well, door's broke.
Yeah, I can see from up here.
Yeah, nothing immediately seems to move or shudder or screech or anything bad.
Sorry, creepy witch lady. Please don't get up and try to eat us.
Clove takes a deep breath to like calm herself and then goes to look for this rat tail root that they're supposed to find.
Not tail root.
Okay.
It's also called rat tail root.
Grim will step back out to help Astrea back down from the roof.
Okay.
I'm just gonna stay up here and then I'll drop down in case if y'all need me.
Do you have a bow or anything?
I do.
And keep an eye on the surrounding
I can do
tree
that.
line.
Celestine's also gonna stay outside. That shack is tiny and kind of creepy, and vengeful spirits and all that jazz. And outside is open, and outside,
And doesn't have the feeling of go away.
While Clove looks for the roots, I'm going to go and inspect the body.
Okay. So, Clove, I will need a perception check as you take a look around the various shelves here. I will need a medicine check from Grim.
Okay.
All right, Clove rolls a 12 for a 17 perception.
Okay.
Grim gets a 14 for an 18.
Okay. Clove, taking a look over at the bottom shelf, you find a simple jar. It is caked with dust, but you can still see in a scrawled hand on a label, rat tail.
Ah, found it.
It doesn't seem to be literal rat's tails, so you're assuming that the root inside is rat tail.
Is there anything else that looks like it's still good that might help the town?
We'll get to that in a moment.
Okay.
Oh no.
We're
the
about to
zombie
ambush
has
first.
to try to eat us first.
Grim, with your medicine check, you reach out, I assume with a prayer, probably.
Yeah, does it look like... is there obvious signs of injury, or did she just look like she laid down here?
So, taking a look, gingerly moving some of the linen wrappings in an attempt to figure out what happened, or at the very least moving her enough to get a good look. The head rolls off until you realize that inside of the linen wrappings is actually an extraordinarily large turnip that is mostly rotted.
Oh no, she ambushing us.
The turnip explodes, more or less from the impact, as flies and maggots go flying everywhere. You guess they were eating the interior of this turnip.
Ooh,
The
super
smell
gross.
is awful.
Is that her head?
No. She pulled a Ferris Bueller on us. No.
That's a classic maneuver.
It's a turnip, it appears. She
Wait, so that's not her.
positioned this or
Clove
faked
jumped.
this?
Clove jumped so much she almost dropped the jar and then had to catch it again.
So then, where is she?
Well,
There's
not
a lot of
here,
dust in here.
or
It doesn't look like she's been here in some time.
I need a perception check from the party
No.
as
Oh
we
my.
roll
Visible.
for initiative.
What?
I rolled so poorly.
Now I'm turning it around.
All right. I rolled poorly also, so this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, I didn't roll great, but I am on the roof, so I'm going to say that's my excuse.
I rolled an 8 for a 13.
Okay, Clove, I'm sorry, what did you get?
Clove rolled an 8 for a 13.
Okay. Amaranth.
I have rolled a 5 for an 8.
Amaranth is not ready.
No.
Are you inside or outside?
Outside?
Okay.
I wasn't going to get anything near anything that has fungus on it.
There.
Yeah, that sounds fair to me.
The wizard knows so good with Constitution.
Celestine.
Celestine rolls a 15 for a 20.
Okay.
She was ready for the undead ambush.
Astrea.
Astrea rolled an 8 for a 14.
14. Grim.
Be a 17 for a 21.
Nice.
The old training's coming back.
Everything's coming up grim.
Yep.
It is, actually.
Yeah,
A little bit.
it's true. So, Grim would be the first to notice, though all of the party notices that, well, as the turnip drops, as the flies explode out of it, as Grim sits there looking at a group of sticks and twigs and bits of mud that have been lashed together to form a sort of humanoid shape,
Yep.
the cauldron in the middle shakes and rattles and
Animated
begins
cauldron?
lashing out at Grim and Clove.
What?
Grim, you have first initiative.
All right. I suppose Grim spins on the spot. Well, this just got interesting. Gets up from, I imagine he was down on one knee, so springs up. Training kicking in as one action pulls his shield, one action pulls his hammer, and reflexively just swings at this thing like a giant gong.
Nice.
Bow, wow, 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 wow.
Roll your attack roll.
Ah, jeez. There's the other side of the spectrum. That'd be a natural 1, so critical failure.
Oh no.
He springs up too fast and like,
Ow, my knee.
my hip.
Oh, my back.
Your knee, back, and hip all hate you.
They pop.
All my old war injuries are coming back.
But yeah, your hammer clangs into it, but you don't think you really did so much as even dent it, as it just sort of shudders away from you. So yeah. Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think critical failures do anything more on an attack roll. Like, you just...
There are some creatures that get reactions if you get a critical failure, but
This
no.
is not one of them. So...
Yeah, swing my hammer, reverberate, kind of shake my hand as I imagine the whole force of that reverberates up through my grip.
Not only that, but it makes a deafening sound, too. Especially inside that tiny cabin.
Yep.
Let's go from Grim to Celestine.
What kind of recall knowledge would this be?
Arcana.
Yeah, I got no clue. I suppose she'll take a well, there's no such thing as 5 foot step anymore. She will move
It's
5
just called a
feet.
step.
Yep.
Yeah, she'll move 5 feet into the room.
Okay.
She steps.
She step, she attack, she protect.
I will swing. I roll a 15 for a 22.
22 hits your target.
She does 5 points of damage.
You swing your blade in, striking for the center of mass of this thing. As your blade dings off of it to another loud ringing sound.
Yeah, okay, problem.
You don't think you even
Well,
scratched
it
it.
is solid iron.
I'm gonna try again.
Rusty iron.
I roll a
but still solid.
I roll a 15, which gets me
All
a
right.
17 after the -5.
17 hits your target.
Okay, so my Elven Curve Blade is forceful, which means it does something if I hit more than one time in a turn.
You add extra damage equal to the amount of damage dice.
That will get me 10 points of damage that time.
You swing in, this time just sort of taking more of almost a baseball bat stance. It's not exactly something you should be doing in normal combat, but this thing being just sort of an object moving around of its own volition probably warrants it. You strike in, actually scratching across the thing, slicing out parts of it.
All right, okay, so hit it real, real hard.
Ah, simple solution.
Well, if every problem starts to look like a cauldron. Anyway,
Sure.
we go from Celestine to Astrea.
Well, Astrea is up on the roof with her bow out.
Just to let you know, you
Up on
are
the
10
rooftop,
feet
da,
above
da,
the
da.
thing, technically.
I guess I'll attempt to shoot it.
Yeah,
It just straddle the opening and shoot an arrow down at it.
yeah, you absolutely can do that.
All right, that gives me a 23.
23 strikes your target.
Okay,
Knock an arrow, releasing.
for 6 points of damage.
You actually hear a penetrating sound of impact as something in the bottom slightly gives out. It's still moving around, though. You're fairly certain you didn't do much to it. Your arrow is
Well,
now
I'm just gonna keep shooting then.
your arrow is now clinking inside of it too, creating an extra, layer of metal sound. Roll your next
Maybe a
attack if you'd
15?
like. A 15 does strike your target.
For another 5 points of damage.
Unfortunately, to no effect, as it just bounces out of the interior.
So I can only do 1 point of damage to this thing, and that's if I roll max damage.
Wow.
Oh boy, that damage reduction is bad.
You have one action remaining if you'd like to take it.
Maybe you need to start getting down towards the ground.
Yeah, I'm going to start moving off the hut.
Okay, go ahead and make me an athletics check then to start climbing off the hut.
Oh, I'm going to fall off the hut. Because that's a natural 1, and I get a 4.
Oh no!
You fall in the cauldron.
Oh god, don't give him that idea.
Oh man,
She's actually
Falling
climbing
gets
down
an
the
automatic
side,
grapple.
so I assume you're not trying to get down through the middle, right?
No, I'm going to go down the outside because I don't want to accidentally fall in the cauldron.
Okay, so in that case, you won't fall into the cauldron, but you do fall off the side.
Yeah, I figured.
Ow.
You are falling 10 feet, which means you take 5 points of damage.
Astrea's just taking a beating today.
Now, if she wants, she can use, if you rule that it's possible, since it's a slope, I think, she could use her reaction to grab an edge.
Ah, you know what? Yeah, I'd say that's actually, yeah. So you can use your reaction to grab an edge, which I believe is a reflex save?
Reflex save against the climb DC.
Yep.
Okay, I'll roll a reflex save. For the other side of the spectrum, I got
Hey.
a nat 20, which will give me a
Dang.
29.
Everybody's got my luck today, my chaos luck.
All right. It is a critical success. So it would normally be a
Yes!
success. So it is a critical success.
Which means that you grab the edge or handhold, you take damage from the from a distance fallen so far, but you treat the fall as if it was 30 feet shorter. So
Okay.
if it is a fall of less than 30 feet, ergo
take-
no damage.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you're able to
taking less of a beating.
Yeah. You're able to dangle off the side. Do they actually finish falling, or do they just not fall and not take damage?
If she's falling past an edge or a handhold, you determine how far she falls before she can catch herself. So if she's
Okay.
on the roof and it like slopes down and she catches herself before she falls off the top of the roof,
I think that you basically catch yourself at the edge of the roof. I'd say that's fair.
I did get a nat 20 on that. I mean, come on.
However, that is your third action, unfortunately. So at the moment,
Yeah.
you are just kind of hanging off the roof, like,
Oh no.
Yeah, but really, it's not that much of a fall. It's just that I'm a halfling. Like anybody else, their feet would already be touching right now.
And she's hanging off the back of the
This is way
roof, so I
scarier if
can't
you're
even
half the
see her.
size.
I think she
True.
just jumped off.
he was a lot bigger when I was smaller. Anyway, woo. All right. From Astrea, we go to Clove.
Clove rages immediately and without thinking because the sound of that hammer hitting the thing and the unnerving feeling of already being in a scary place that wants you to leave, she like instantly
Sensory
rages.
overload.
And then she pulls her machete, turns around, and hits whatever the heck is behind her, which she doesn't even know fully is a cauldron, as hard as she can.
All right. So you rage, pull your weapon, swing.
Not today! I roll a 13 for
Is that
a...
Clove saying not today?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Clove says,
that's-
not today! I was going to
Let's
say
see.
the B word, but then I didn't.
you sound too excited to be disappointed.
Well, not today, witch.
Not today, witch! There we go, that's nice. Clove rolls a 20 to hit. She rolls a 13 on the die.
All right, a 20 hits your target.
9 points of damage.
All right. You swing in with another reverberating metal on metal sound. Your blade's still scoring through part of this thing. Dust and other bits of iron debris go filling in the entirety of the hut.
Ow, what the heck is this?
The thing.
It's a cauldron.
Thanks, Celestine.
it occurs to me that we attacked before it attacked us. Maybe we should have tried diplomacy.
Again, it's a cauldron.
I thought it lashed out first.
I think it just stood up, and then
It
I immediately spun around and hit it with the hammer.
It really just
Well,
started
it
spinning.
shouldn't have
It literally
surprised.
jiggled, and Grim was just like, nope.
Which scared me, and I raged, and so now there's no diplomacy, only hitting things.
Everybody was real tense in this horror situation.
I get angry when I'm scared.
It's true. Defense
Sometimes.
mechanism.
Yeah. Let's see here.
The cauldron cries, and we're like, oh no, Colby.
Oh no, Colby. We go
Don't
from
make it
Ross would-
sad now, Jess.
Ross would know how to play to that emotion real fast with
I was
us.
just trying to offer you some porridge.
I think it's
lonely
mostly
mimic.
burned out in the bottom now because it's been a while, but it's still there.
I was just happy to see some people.
No.
The thing lashes out, striking, or at least attempting to strike Grim, being the one who first disturbed, you guess, the body.
Quote unquote.
All right.
This like immortal witch is gonna come home and be like, y'all destroyed my fake body and killed my cauldron.
It slings out with a 15.
Nope. That will bounce off of my thick dwarven armor.
Excellent. Then it will try again. Well, 19?
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to raise my shield. Yep, that'll get
That's
back.
unfortunate.
Is it just slamming him?
Yeah, it's just sort of running into him, basically. All right, so first of all, it slams in for 9 points of damage.
Oh,
The iron just bashing into the side of you.
that's a wake-up call.
You also think it's cut you slightly. The edges are sharpened, probably from years of neglect.
Sorry, I assumed then. I apologize for that. Is it slashing?
Technically, it is bludgeoning. I'm sorry. but-
Okay, not a problem.
My
I just
bad,
want to
that
make
was-
sure because my armor does give me a DR against slashing weapons.
Holy crap, nice.
Breastplate,
Oh, yeah.
doing it right. But no, it does not give me any protection against internal bleeding.
No, unfortunately. And
Leaning against the wall, I should have worn leather.
it will try to attack one more time. We'll see if this
All right.
actually works, though. No. Yeah, no. Does you have anything that triggers on a critical failure?
No, unfortunately. I do
Me
have two
neither.
different reactions, but neither of them worked here, so.
Well then, unfortunately, it just misses. As it basically clings against your armor, striking one good hit, but for the most part, just sort of brushing up against you and trying to force you back out of the hut, you think?
Does Grim
I'll force you out of the hut through this wall.
Does Grim look really hurt, or does it just look like it kind of just bumped him?
Well, let me put it this way: that's not half my hit points, so
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm made of hit points.
hey, Grim. Normally, dwarves hit iron, but now iron's hitting you.
I haven't had acted yet.
That's pretty funny.
Soviet
Iron.
Andron?
Why? I thought we were friends.
Celestine thinks she's real funny.
Oh man. Amaranth, it's your turn.
Oh! Amaranthe turns around and recalls knowledge on what the heck this thing is and hopefully how to defeat it.
All
My
right.
Arcana is a 7.
Okay. So, thinking back, this is almost certainly an animated object.
Sweet.
So you know a few things about it. Primarily that, first of all, it's a construct. Secondly, that it's mindless, which means that they're usually just programmed to do a certain task, given a certain set of circumstances. And the last thing that you recall is that they have what's usually referred to as construct armor. Effectively, they have the hardness of the object or of the material that they're made out of. Once they get past a certain health threshold, or once a critical hit is made against them, this actually negates that bonus.
Okay.
As you've mostly broken it, but it's still going to keep animating and moving until such time as you destroy it completely.
Oh my, it's an animated object. I haven't seen one. Oh, nope, it's one of the angry ones. 1 second, everyone.
One of the angry ones.
Astrea says, dangling from the side of the hut.
Yeah.
Oh man, so Amaranthe gestures out a hand.
As would say, Amaranthe, you're outside of the hut, but you can still actually see the cauldron from here.
I figured because there's a door in the way. But Amaranthe will gesture a hand out, casting electric arc.
All right. So it needs to make a
fire
reflex
wouldn't be super
save.
useful against it. Yes, go ahead and make a reflex save, animated object.
I mean, you can try. It gets a 5.
It crit fails.
Oh, that's
Take that,
unfortunate.
son. I was hoping for that.
Yeah. Going ahead.
Doubling
and-
up. So that's 6 and 8. So that's 14 points of damage.
So in this case, doubling actually means you roll the dice and literally double it. You don't actually roll twice anymore.
Oh, okay. In that case, then
so-
it's
Go ahead and roll once. That's fine.
so it's 12 points of damage then. So I rolled 2 on the first one.
Okay, that works. So electricity flies from your outstretched hand, pouring into this thing as you catch it directly You're guessing at some sort of structural weak point as a loud ringing sound once again reverberates as cracks and spider-line fractures appear all over this thing. It still wobbles almost drunkenly, but you think you've actually managed to pierce its armor, and at this point, it should be easier to deal with for the rest of your companions.
Okay, I think I've helped. That should make it easier to deal with.
Shouldn't you know if you made something easier for us?
It's been a while since I...
Yes, it's been a while since you've done magic and left, like, the library.
Aim for the fractures. It's where it will be weakest.
Yes, listen to the door.
Strike the
Stress
stress
weakness.
points.
All right, so from Amaranthe, we go back to Grim.
Grim will push off of the wall that he was nearly just battered through.
There's an almost dwarf-sized impression in the wall behind you.
Remembering back to his training, he'll realize that he made a critical mistake and that the first action should have been to raise his shield, which he will now do. Defense first.
It's also been a while for Grim.
Yeah, so he brings up the shield, which with his compact dwarven body is almost hidden entirely behind it as he just kind of swings the hammer up over it.
All right.
Oh, there she goes.
Oh.
That would be a perfect 20 for, I believe, an automatic critical hit.
Assuming-
Nice.
Yes.
Excellent.
As long as your normal attack would be a success, then it is a
It'd
critical
be a 26
success.
normally.
Yes. So, yes, it is a critical success.
If you roll a perfect 20 and miss, we need to leave immediately.
So,
Or just
going
keep
ahead
hitting you
and
with
double
magic.
your damage.
12 points of damage as I bring
Nice.
the hammer down.
Ooh. You swing the hammer, dropping it at the lip of this thing, bashing through the rest of it as it separates effectively into fifths, each part just collapsing to the ground, wiggling slightly as the magic you guess fades from it before the cauldron is still.
Thank you for the opening, Amaranthe.
Not a problem.
I don't know why you stopped doing that for like 50 years. If I could throw lightning around.
Astrea comes running into the room. Is everyone okay?
Yeah, you kind
Yes.
of missed the whole thing.
Well, no, she shot arrows into it from above. I appreciate
Okay,
your
yeah,
help
that was
as well.
helpful.
All right, Amaranthe.
You're very rude like this. I need you to calm the heck down.
Yeah, well, I need to stop being, like, in danger all the time. And so Clove turns around and starts angrily shoving things in her bag.
What did you expect to happen in the Vale?
I mean, I didn't really have a choice. I had to come, and so here I am.
Anyway.
You're the one who asked us. Okay, I'm not even getting into that. Not even getting into that. You
Clove,
need to calm down.
Clove, if you can find the things that we need. Astrea, would you mind watching over me? I need to pray.
Of course.
So, Amaranthe, when was the last time you had a beer or had fun that didn't involve like a book?
Oh, no, I mean, I had fun teaching art history quite a lot.
Okay, that
has
has to
fun
do with
doing
a
that?
book.
That sounds boring.
Well, no, I mean, I went to various poetry readings,
Okay.
and I, produced some of my
Something
best art.
fun that doesn't involve
Like boring stuff.
like hoity-toity fancy schooling.
You guys are very rude. If that's what he likes, that's what he likes.
Clove, you can go ahead and make a perception check, too, while you're looking around.
Because we're gonna show Amaranthe how to have fun. Like,
Normal
not
people.
a teacher.
I rolled a 14 for a 19.
I will argue that poetry can be a great deal
Okay.
of fun.
Old people.
Yeah.
No, dwarven poetry's a lot of fun.
If you want me to tell you the epic poems of the wars and the quest for Sky, I definitely can.
I thought you were praying.
Actually, according to the rulebook, I can spend 10 minutes performing deeds related to my deity, which I believe would be sharing the history of dwarven kind.
There you
so
go.
I could actually recite poetry for you for the next 10 minutes as part of my prayers and education.
I'm going to dig through this cabinet.
So
I mean, I for one would be very interested in that.
Celestine pats Amaranthe on the shoulder. We're getting a beer at the tavern and talking about stuff that's not art history when we get back, okay?
All right.
You do realize I've drunk beer, like, all the time. I mean, it's not as good as elven wine, but it's, passable.
She gives you the look.
I
Actually,
think Celestine's hitting on Amaranthe over here.
I know.
It's not really what I would call beer here.
Yeah, validation.
But whatever you have, I suppose, would be suffice.
So do you have the good stuff at the orchard?
I have been fermenting some fine apple cider for the better part of half a decade.
Party at Grimm's place.
The color comes back to Clove's face, and she, like, quietly goes about finding whatever it is I rolled a 19 to find.
So, Clove, you find two things of particular interest. Obviously, there are plenty of moldering roots and bits and bobs here and there that, for the most part, are no longer useful. But there are two things of note. The first, in a small strong box that is unlocked fortuitously, you find a set of scalpels and what's the little... Do they call them mallets? Like they hit your reflex thing?
A healer's kit?
Yes, basically. I was just trying to actually describe it rather than just saying you find a healer's kit.
And they are called mallets.
Okay.
Yeah, it is mallet, yeah.
Yep.
So yeah,
It's
you
a
find
Band-Aid.
a scalpel, mallet, tongs, a number of other things that really function quite well as a healer's kit.
Power drills.
Yay!
Or healer's
Power
tools,
drill.
rather, in this case. Yes, there's also a power drill, surprisingly.
Power drill, bone saw.
In case you need to do any orthopedic surgery.
No, sadly, no batteries, but
We left those back in Numeria.
the other thing you find, strangely, this is actually in the rubble of that chest of drawers you push to actually get into the room. And strangely also, you think it was originally bolted to the wall here somehow, though obviously not very well since it just fell out of its housing at one point. There's a mummified hand.
Guys, this is...
Hand of glory.
Yes,
hand
our first level characters now have a hand of glory.
there's a very creepy hand
Aw,
here.
the sass has disappeared.
Huh?
Don't worry about it. You said a hand?
Uh-huh, it's right there. She doesn't touch it. She just points at it.
It is a mummified hand.
Yeah, Astrea walks up and kind of toes it.
So first
Is
of
it
all,
It
magical?
starts crawling your foot.
we can go on ahead and do this first real quick. Anybody who wants to recall knowledge will do so with society. I can do that real quick.
Okay, I have a 7 at that.
I have a 5.
Okay.
I don't have that.
So, Amaranthe, you're able to identify the hand, at the very least, as belonging to a dwarf once upon a time, or at least very likely belonging to a dwarf.
What? Oh, that's odd. That's a dwarven hand, I think. Likely a dwarven hand.
Well, there are dwarven ruins near here. There would have been dwarves here at some point. So is it magic, or is it just kept a weird mummified dwarven hand for a friend?
I mean, I'll blast off a detect magic.
It is magical.
Oh, hey, I will cast
Curious.
Read Aura. What's that magic on it?
So, casting Read Aura on it, the magic in this case is transmutation magic. Beyond that, you can't be certain.
Well, the hand is some type of transmutation effect. I'd have to spend more time with it to identify it properly.
Oh, well, you're welcome to have it. I don't want it.
You aren't curious about what its effects are?
It's a hand.
The rotted remains of a leather
necromancy.
thong are still attached to the hand, pretty much at its wrist.
Amaranthe will take it as respectfully as possible while still being curious enough to want to know what it makes it tick.
I have to pray for the next 10 minutes, so if you want to take 10 minutes to identify it also.
Oh, is it? Did they take it down to 10 minutes?
Yeah, it's 10 minutes to identify it.
Oh, okay, cool. I just take 10 more minutes and identify what
I
this
think
is.
Read Aura is also 10 minutes.
No, Read Aura is 1 minute.
Oh, okay, good.
So I spend 10 minutes to identify what this is. I get a +1 to identify magic items, so...
It would be an occult check in this case, though of course your identifying magical item bonus does apply.
Okay, so I have an 8 then
Okay.
for occultism. Because I smart.
Taking a look at this, studying it, of course trying your best to recall objects of power from a variety of magical traditions, you know a few things about this. The first is that this is an item often referred to as a Hand of the Gladringar. Gladringar, Grimm notes, is dwarven for, roughly translated, means ritual of toil. Dwarves oftentimes mark the deepest area that they've been or the most impressive mine that they've ever dug or anything like that with a personal mark or seal. This magical item is supposed to help with that. As long as you bear it, you can effectively cast the magic spell Sigil and as many times per day as you wish.
Well, this appears to be a hand of Gladrigar. I believe I'm saying that right. I don't speak Dwarven.
Gladringar.
Basically, it allows you to cast a magic sigil as many times as you want. I'm not really entirely sure of the cultural significance of that, but that's
The
Dwarven.
Gladringar is an old dwarven tradition. A dwarf who explores into mines or digs deeper can make their mark at the lowest point of the mines, showing that they're the deepest, the closest to the heart of the earth. And then another person who explores can put their mark as well, but it can never be lower than the person before, and so on and so forth. It's a way that you can come in and see who has come before you and pay your respects while not usurping their glory.
Well, and it'd also be a useful tool here in the forest. I mean, if you're not 100% sure where you are, just mark a tree and you with a symbol, and then you have the proverbial trail home.
But you have to wear a creepy hand?
Well, I don't know if you have to wear it. You just have to use it.
It is an invested item.
So, yes, you have to wear it. I mean, it's not necromancy, so it's not, like, anything creepy.
It's a creepy hand.
It
it's
is
not
kind
really-
of strange. It's a hand.
Can I make a dwarven lore check? Is this a tradition of some clan or something in this region, or
Yeah.
is this something someone else would have made?
So I'll go on ahead and... so what is your dwarven lore?
+4.
Okay. Thinking it over, you're not aware of any clans that this is a tradition for. You're aware that this is an item certain explorers have made, especially those who aren't proficient in any magical traditions, so they can make these marks easily. But you're not certain of any clans around here that do that. You don't note any particular clans that do that.
It's curious, but
Well, it's an interesting item, to say the least. We shouldn't leave it here.
no, we should take it with us at the very least.
I guess
Okay.
we'll begin making our way towards the said dwarven ruins.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to stay very long in this area. It still gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Me
Maybe
too.
one of
Oh,
those
I
things
can-
in the yard's another animated object.
Stop
It might be.
No, it
Those
actually
things are
couldn't
about
be.
as big as I am.
I
I already checked it. It doesn't have any magic on it.
I can treat your wounds if you're still hurt, Astrea.
No, I'm actually okay. Just a few nicks and cuts. I think I'll be all right.
Well,
Okay.
then what time of day is it, Ross? If we traveled 6 miles and then we
So-
had the fight with the Drake this morning and
By this
we've
time,
been-
it is late afternoon. You probably have at least a couple more hours left before night falls.
I guess we should head towards the ruins and find someplace good to set up camp for the evening.
Sounds good.
We have some daylight left.
You begin your trek in that direction, and I suppose we'll see what happens to adventurers when they arrive at the ruins next time.
When we find the mad undead dwarf who wants his hand back.
Oh, jeez.
I know, that's what I mean. It's right here.
Thank you.
Well, in that case, carry on.
Invested my hand.
Find the Path Ventures is an officially licensed partner of Paizo Incorporated. Hollow's Last Hope is copyright 2007. Hollow's Last Hope and the Game Mastery module line are trademarks of Paizo. All Game Mastery images are property of Paizo and used with permission.